What really happened to Matthew Perry? What happened to Matthew Perry? And why is a doctor facing over 100 years in prison because of it? It all started long before Friends. Back when Matthew was just a teenager in Canada. He always felt like an outsider, like he'd never be enough. And one night, he finds something that makes that feeling go away. Alcohol. At first, it's just a drink. Then, it's the only thing that makes him feel okay. He tells himself it's temporary, because one day, he'll be famous, and then he'll finally feel loved. So he moves to Los Angeles, chasing the dream. And in 1994, he lands the role that changes everything. Chandler Bing, on Friends. The show explodes. He's rich, adored, and on top of the world. But fame didn't fix him, because behind the scenes, the real battle was just beginning. By the late 90s, Friends was untouchable, and so was Matthew Perry. But what fans didn't see was how deep the addiction went. Entire seasons, filmed while he was blackout drunk. He'd show up, deliver perfect lines, and wake up the next day with no memory of doing it. His co-star, Jennifer Aniston, finally confronts him. "Matthew, I can smell the alcohol on you. You need help." He listens. He checks into rehab, again and again. But addiction is a beast. Even after 15 stints in rehab, $6,000 AA meetings, and $7 million spent, he still couldn't silence that voice in his head. You'll never be enough. Until one day, a new hope appears. A treatment that promises relief, but instead seals his fate. The new treatment? Ketamine. It was meant to treat depression, legally, under a doctor's care. But Matthew wanted to feel it all the time. That's when he met Dr. P, a local physician who saw dollar signs the moment he met a Friends star. Dr. P had zero experience with ketamine therapy. But that didn't stop him. He started feeding Matthew's addiction, charging $2,000 a vial for a drug that cost him $12. He even recruited another doctor, Dr. Chavez, to write fake prescriptions so he could get more. In one text, Dr. P literally wrote, "I wonder how much this will pay. Let's find out." And from that moment, Matthew Perry's life was no longer in his own hands. It's October 2023. Matthew Perry is home, in his favorite spot, his backyard hot tub. He's calm, relaxed, maybe even happy. His assistant Kenny gives him the injection, then leaves to run errands. No doctors, no supervision, just Matthew and the drug. Hours later, he's found unresponsive, gone at 54. News spreads worldwide, tributes pour in. But behind the tears, questions start to rise. How did this happen? Who gave it to him? And who's responsible for letting it go this far? The investigation uncovers a web of lies, and a doctor scrambling to cover his tracks. The morning after Matthew Perry's death, Dr. P panics. He knows he's the last doctor to treat him. So, allegedly, he starts forging documents, fake treatment plans, false dosage records, anything to make it look like he did nothing wrong. But the feds aren't fooled. They trace the texts, the prescriptions, the money, and suddenly, bam, arrest. Dr. P, Dr. Chavez, and even Matthew's assistant Kenny, all charged. And while Dr. P awaits trial, facing over 100 years in prison, he's still, somehow, practicing medicine today. Accepting new patients, still free, still walking around. So maybe the real question isn't what happened to Matthew Perry, but how did we let it happen again? He was rich, he was famous, he was a killer. This is the story of Aaron Hernandez, the secretly gay NFL superstar who went from the Super Bowl to a life sentence. Back in 2010, Aaron was living every player's dream, drafted to the New England Patriots at just 20. By 2012, he's one of the best tight ends in the league. Super Bowl run, millions in contracts, a $40 million deal and celebrity status. But behind the highlight reels, something darker was forming. He surrounded himself with criminals, partied nonstop, got high constantly, and grew paranoid, convinced someone was out to get him. So he started carrying a gun everywhere he went, and one night, that paranoia turned deadly. It's 2012. Aaron's out clubbing in Boston with his friend Alexander. They're drinking, laughing, then, boom, some random guy bumps into Aaron, spilling his drink. A mistake. But to Aaron, a sign of disrespect. He loses it. Alexander drags him outside to cool off. For a minute, it works, until Aaron spots the same guy leaving the club. That's when something in him breaks. "Let's follow them," he says. They trail the car down the street, pull up beside it, and Aaron raises the gun. 5 shots, 2 dead. And then, he drives away. No witnesses, no suspects. No one would ever believe an NFL player just did a drive-by. Aaron Hernandez just got away with murder, at least for now.
If this story's got you hooked, hit that like button and comment the moment that left your jaw on the floor.
A year later, Aaron's paranoia is out of control. He's back in Florida, clubbing again with Alexander. After they leave, Alexander realizes he left his phone behind. Aaron refuses to go back. They argue. Then Alexander says something that changes everything. "What about those guys you killed?" Aaron freezes. He knows Alexander just signed his death warrant, but he doesn't strike right away. He waits. Later that night, Alexander falls asleep in the car. Aaron pulls over, pulls out his gun, and shoots him in the face, leaves him for dead in a parking lot. But here's the twist. Alexander survives. He loses an eye, but never tells police who did it. And Aaron? He just keeps spiraling. By 2013, Aaron's unraveling fast. His friend Odin Lloyd, another player, knows too much. He's seen the guns. He's heard rumors about the murders. And Aaron's paranoia boils over. He decides Odin has to die. One night, Aaron and two friends pick Odin up to hang out. They drive to an industrial park, light up a blunt. Then, without warning, Aaron raises the gun. Multiple shots. Odin drops instantly. They dump his body by a construction pile and drive home like nothing happened. It should have been the perfect crime. Until a jogger finds the body the next morning, and police find something else, a blunt with Aaron's DNA on it. Cops raid Aaron's house, guns, ammo, footprints, and suddenly, the NFL Golden Boy is in handcuffs, charged with Odin's murder. But it doesn't stop there. Detectives find a car linked to those two unsolved club murders from 2012. Everything starts connecting. In court, Aaron denies it all. But the jury isn't buying it. Guilty. Life in prison. The fame, the fortune, all gone. 2 years later, guards find him hanging in his cell. And when doctors examine his brain, they find it riddled with CTE, a condition caused by years of head trauma. It explained his paranoia, his rage, his downfall. But it didn't erase what he did. The world lost a star and gained a cautionary tale. Scary last words from death row prison. Inmates before execution. What would you say if you knew it was the last thing the world would ever hear from you? Some beg for forgiveness. Others whisper prayers. But not everyone goes quietly. Some laugh as the poison hits their veins. Richard Aaron Cobb, a Texas killer who shot 3 people execution style thinking they were all dead, had one of the strangest final moments ever recorded. As the chemicals filled his body, he smiled and said, "I hope this absurdity humanity's come to will end someday." Then, seconds later, "Wow, this is great. Thank you, Warden." But not every killer finds peace. Some face death like they faced life, with a smirk. John Wayne Gacy, the clown who murdered 33 boys and hid them beneath his house. As he faced lethal injection, his final words were pure venom. "Kiss my..." You can guess the rest. No remorse, no apology, just hate. But Gacy wasn't the first monster to look death in the eye and grin. In 1931, German serial killer Peter Kürten, known as the Vampire of Dusseldorf, asked his psychiatrist, "After my head is chopped off, will I still hear my blood gush from my neck?" He smiled and added, "That would be the pleasure to end all pleasures." And then, the blade fell. But not everyone on death row laughed. Some promised they'd return. Aileen Wuornos, America's most notorious female serial killer. Executed in 2002, she looked straight at the witnesses and said, "I'm sailing with the Rock. I'll be back, like Independence Day, with Jesus." To her, death was just another curtain call. Then there was Karl Panzraum, a man who murdered at least 22 people and bragged about it. Before hanging, he spat in the executioner's face and snarled, "Yes, hurry it up, you bastard. I could kill a dozen men while you're screwing around." But even among death row, gallows humor has its own twisted heroes. One man's last joke became a legend. James French, murderer, prankster, and the only man to headline his own death. Before execution, he joked to reporters, "If I were covering my execution, you know what the headline would be?" The reporter asked what. French smiled. "French fries." Then there was Jeffrey Matthews, who looked up at the ceiling moments before dying and said, "I think the governor's phone is broken. He hasn't called yet." And Robert Calmer, sentenced for murder, gave his final salute to the crowd. "Go Raiders." For some, humor was defiance. For others, denial. But one man turned his death into poetry, and his last words weren't a joke. They were a complaint. Thomas J. Grasso, double murderer, poet, and critic of prison cuisine. His last words? "I did not get my spaghetti-os. I got spaghetti. I want the press to know this." But others ended on something darker. Clarence Ray Allen, executed at 76, looked up and whispered, "Hoka, hey, it's a good day to die." And from the Salem witch trials centuries earlier, Sarah Good, moments before hanging, stared at the reverend who condemned her and said, "I am no more a witch than you are a wizard, and if you take my life, God will give you blood to drink." 25 years later, that reverend died choking on his own blood. Coincidence? Maybe. But death always has the last word. The billion-dollar solar scam. This dude Jeff went from a broke ex-meth addict in California to running a billion-dollar company with tech that barely worked. Back in 2008, Jeff's life was falling apart. He was broke, behind on bills, getting sued, even tried selling drugs. Nothing worked. Until one day, he's talking to his neighbor about solar panels and gets a wild idea. What if I bolt solar panels onto a trailer? Boom, a portable power source. He Googles how to build it, rigs up a janky prototype, and calls it a solar generator. It half works, like barely. But Jeff doesn't care. He starts a company called DC Solar and starts selling the dream. He gets a few investors, a few customers, but it's not enough. until he discovers a little-known federal tax credit loophole that changes everything. By 2010, Jeff figures out how to cash in big. See, the Bush administration had created massive tax breaks for companies investing in clean energy. So Jeff starts selling leases on his solar generators. Companies like Sherwin-Williams pay millions, not for working generators, but just to claim the tax credit. Jeff's product barely works, but he gets $29 million anyway. And instead of fixing his tech, Jeff starts scheming. He stages fake quality inspections, putting the working units in front and the broken ones in back. It's all smoke and mirrors, but it works. Money starts pouring in. And soon, Jeff turns his failing company into a full-blown Ponzi scheme. Jeff's scam explodes. He's selling $150,000 generators by the thousands. By 2014, he's pulling in $174 million. Then he fakes a contract with T-Mobile and soon lands deals with Geico and the International Speedway Corporation. Total, over $1.2 billion. The guy literally turns his fake solar company into a billion-dollar empire. And what does he do with all that cash? He buys 32 houses, 150 luxury cars, a semi-pro baseball team, even sponsors a NASCAR car. At one point, he hires Pitbull to perform at a company Christmas party. That's right, Mr. Worldwide himself got paid with Ponzi money. By 2016, Jeff's fraud even fools the US government. They award his company a green energy contract for generators that barely even work. But inside DC Solar, things start looking off. Employees notice, wait, we stopped building generators months ago, so what are we even selling? Jeff starts selling imaginary inventory. He's got 6,000 real units, but he's selling 17,000. That's straight up fantasy money. And finally, one employee has enough. They quit and go straight to the SEC. In 2018, federal agents swarm DC Solar's headquarters. SWAT teams raid Jeff's mansion. The jig is up. Over 8 years and 34 fake deals, Jeff and his wife scammed nearly $1 billion. He pleads guilty. Sentenced to 30 years in prison. His wife gets 11. And the wildest part? One of his last tweets ever was celebrating Pitbull performing at one of his parties. From meth addict to fake billionaire to inmate, Jeff proved you really can build a billion-dollar empire on nothing but lies.
That's all the stories for today. Which one stuck with you the most? Did you see the ending coming, or did it catch you off guard? If you enjoyed these insane, true crime stories, don't forget to like the video and share your thoughts in the comments. We'll see you in the next one.